Yeah, let's start, please.
Okay. So good evening, everyone. On behalf of Platform, I, Kunal Wag, take this opportunity to welcome all of you to Season 2, Capsule 2 under the InFocus series. As all of you are aware, under this series, we cover some of the important topics and functional areas in the industry, which are important and relevant to the pharma students and their career. Today's session covers quality assurance as a career in the healthcare industry. I'm sure most of us would like to hear more from from the industry experts, and that's why have for you today. At the outset, I would like Ms. Geeta Srinivasan, the founder of Platform, to say a few words.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Kunal, for hosting this session today. And we welcome all the participants here in this forum today to listen to an extremely eminent expert in the field of quality assurance. Uh, I'm sure this will be a great enlightening session. Before we begin, I just would like to say a few words about Platform. Platform is a forum which is the first of its kind, specially dedicated for pharmacy students in the country. Now, what we do at Platform is try to understand the strengths of the student based on their personality, and then counsel and mentor them in an area of interest, and also guide them in the career path by making informed decisions, whether it is the academic journey to do MPharm or MBA or MS, or to get into which field in the industry. By talking to experts in our panel, you get a clear indication of what exactly you should pursue. So this is what we at Platform do. Today I have with me my co-founder, Mrs. Lakshmi Anantanarayanan. She is also a market research specialist, and she understands exactly what is the need of the students and helps guide Platform in a way that it is benefiting the students who are in the pharmacy field. So welcome, Lakshmi, for this session, and we will request you to host this session along with Kunal today, and enlighten the students here with all your thoughts. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kunal. Thank you, Geeta, for that introduction and also introducing Platform. Good evening, everyone. I would like to talk about our speaker for the day, Ms. Sabina Shirsekar. Welcome, Sabina. Welcome on behalf of Platform. And thank you so much for giving your time on a weekend evening. Really appreciate it. So to introduce Sabina ma'am to all of you, Sabina ma'am is an expert in the area of quality control and quality assurance with over 2 decades of experience in this field, and is highly proficient in developing an organization's quality strategy, procedures, processes. She has been instrumental in managing quality performance from supply chain, throughout the entire product development life cycle. She has also developed and sustained a quality management system in accordance with ISO 9001, ISO 17025, all the other applicable standards and regulatory requirements. You all must have heard about these standards. And she has also, handled esteemed audits by NABL, WHO GMP audit, Ayush Premium Mark audit, which is by Department of Ayush, and also state FDA audits for approving the testing laboratories. So her experience and expertise has helped company maintain GLP compliance, NABL accreditation, and also GMP standards. She has been responsible for all the documentation that are, involved in this particular area of quality control and quality assurance. The list goes on, and we are highly privileged to have you, Sabina, with us today. Thank you so much, and agreeing to share your insights related to quality assurance as a career in healthcare industry. I'm sure students today will benefit and understand more about this area.
Thank you, Lakshmi. Thank you for that introduction. I'm also very pleased to come on this platform and face the students directly.
Thank you. Thank you. Welcome. So I would like to start the session. Before that, can I request all the participants to mute their audio? And all the questions, you can post it in the chat box. We will address it towards the end. Okay. To start with, Sabina, most of the students have heard about QA, but they are not sure of what exactly it means. So, can you start telling us what exactly is this QA function?
Quality. QA is nothing but quality assurance. Now, everybody nowadays are talking about quality. And here we are talking about a pharma industry. So quality is at most important for any industry, and for pharmaceutical industry, it is really going to be very important, because finally the product is going to be consumed for which is going to affect the health of consumers. So the intention of any industry is to bring out a good quality product. So when we are talking about quality, who is the one who assures us the quality? It is the quality assurance department. So the quality assurance department has a wide ranging concept covering all matters that individually or collectively influence the quality of a product. So right from the initial stage to from going through the raw material, the manufacturing, and the distribution, the quality assurance departments take control of all these things. We can say like it is the totality of the arrangements made with the objective of ensuring that a pharmaceutical product are of the quality required for their intended use. So what comes under quality assurance is GMP. What we talk about is good manufacturing practices, good laboratory practices, nowadays good clinical practices. Okay, so all this is looked after, controlled by the quality assurance department. They are the ones who start this. They are the ones who set the guidelines, and they make the other departments follow these set of guidelines.
Yeah, that was insightful, and to understand what is QA in a very you put it in a very crisp manner, I must say, Sabina. So I wanted to know, when we were graduating 25 years ago, there was this confusion between QC and QA until I worked in QC, and then realized when I was part of QA the difference. So can you now tell us, is QA different from QC? What way? And any example if you can give to explain this.
See, QC is a very integral part of QA. Okay, now QA, as we said, QA functions, the main function of QA is to set the guidelines, to set the standards. Now, whatever is your goal of the pharmaceutical industry, whether you want to reach what heights, you want to compete with the local market, or you want to go and export your products, accordingly, you go for your accreditation certifications, like you want to have a US approved plant. So accordingly, you set your standards. The quality assurance department will set the standards. Okay, so quality assurance department will take care of the entire process. Now, quality control department, what it does is it will consider the product. So it is like a reactive process. Quality assurance, we say, is process oriented, whereas the quality control is a product oriented. Like example I can give you, like when quality control, as we say, they have to control the quality. Whenever we are making any pharmaceutical product, we need the raw materials, the active materials and the inactive materials. So the raw material is accepted in the industry, it has come to your premises. The quality control department will test the raw material according to the specifications. If it passes the specifications, they will approve it. If it does not pass, they will reject it. So ultimately, their goal is to take a raw material which is passing as per the specification. Now, quality control, so as we say, is limited to the testing of this raw material. But quality assurance department has to take care from where has the raw material come. Okay, from where, what is the vendor? Is the vendor approved? Has he sent the material properly to your premises? Is it in the container is proper or not? All this is also important for quality assurance. Quality control ka kaam kya hai? They will just test the raw material. If it is passing, okay. If it is not passing, they will reject. They are not concerned who the vendor is. But the quality assurance department will take care that the raw material is coming from a properly approved vendor. They will not accept it from any person. They have a list of approved vendors. They have their own set to define the approved vendors. Okay, so they will accept the material only from the approved vendors. Then only you have received the material. Again, quality control department will do the sampling. But how has the sampling been done? That is checked by the quality assurance, whether you have sampled it correctly or not. This is the check of the quality assurance department. Finally, the quality control department has tested the material and it has released. So here, the work of quality control for this particular raw material ends. But for quality assurance, this work is continued from the passing of the raw material to the use in the manufacturing process till the finished product. So this is the basic difference between quality assurance and the quality control. They are more of a reactive process. They receive the material, they test it. So it is not only to the raw material, quality control, it is also for the raw material, the finished product, the intermediate bulk product, also the packing material. So quality control is more into testing. Okay. It is a short-term job, whereas the quality assurance is a long-time job, right from the design of the product to the sale of the product.
Correct. How beautifully put, reactive versus proactive. So I think that is the key takeaway and nicely explained. So now we understood the relation and difference between QC and QA. If we were to talk about how QA is, in terms of working relation, how they are related to the other departments. So where does QA play role? So how do other departments also
Actually,
work?
we can say QA is in the center. QA has to interact with each and every department of the organization, because QA, as we saw, are the people who are setting the limits, setting the rules, setting the definitions. So QA will lay down the guidelines for everybody, for the purchase department. Like how I said, there is an approved vendor list. So it is not only, so they have to interact with the purchase department. They will prepare a list of vendors from only where the purchase department will purchase the material. Okay, so they have to interact with the purchase department. They have to interact with the stores, because how the raw materials, the finished products, the bulk, the packing material is stored, QA has a very good check on that. So QA department has to have a control on the stores. Then main is the manufacturing unit. So the product development or the manufacturing unit, QA has a very good role to play over there, because it has a lot of functions to play over there. The line clearance when you're taking the manufacturing of the process. So manufacturing or the product development department, QA has a role to play over there. Quality control, of course, quality control generally comes under the quality assurance. So directly they are responsible for quality control. And later on also, if you're going to export your product, so export department or the marketing department or the regulatory department, most of the time what happens, regulatory audits are there. So these regulatory department people take help of quality assurance to prepare whatever documents they need. Similarly, export department, wherever we are exporting our products, the importing country will require some documents from you. So regulatory department shortfall over there, they don't know, or the export department, it is not their expertise to provide documents. So they will come and contact the quality assurance department. They will give them the list of documents required by these countries. So quality assurance department, we can see, is everywhere in the organization.
Right. Yeah, I think the moment you mentioned, quality assurance is in the center and explained it, I think all the students must have visualized how important, and it's a core department function that is there in the pharma and healthcare industry. And further to this, so now all of us are understanding how important this QA function is. So what are the specific skill sets that are needed for this QA function?
Mainly the person, whoever is interested in quality assurance, has to have a problem solving skill, because QA assurance is not like, okay, initially when you're starting, you are under somebody, you're working and everything fine. But whenever you reach to a certain position in QA, you are responsible for giving the replies, the answers. So you have to have a problem solving skill. Then you need to be very keen and attention. You have to pay very keen attention to details. Your oral communication should be outstanding, oral and written communication, because quality assurance functions are to prepare documents. So your writing skills, how you express whatever you want to express, so your writing skills and communication skills have to be very good. If you're good at drafting documents, there are a lot of documents that goes into quality assurance. You need to prepare SOPs, standard operating procedures, written procedures, formats. So your drafting skills have to be very good. And time management, because QA, you have to be multitasking, you have to set deadlines, you have many, because QA generally faces the audits. So time management is very important. Also, I would say the person should have the ability to work in a team. Sometimes you have to work in a team as a leader also and as a follower also. That is also very important. One very important and basic thing is that person has to believe in quality himself. Okay, because sometimes if you are not convinced, you cannot convince others. So first of all, you have to be convinced that we want the right things to be done at the right time. You have to be very strict, very disciplined. Only then you can expect the quality to be coming from the other people also. So I feel those are the skills that are required.
Okay. So in short, if we were to, summarize the importance of QA, how will you put it?
QA basically is the core of any industry, because unless and until, it is a function of the QA, whenever any product is going out of the premises, the responsibility is of the QA, whether it has been tested properly, the raw materials that has gone into it are correct. That quality control department will analyze it and give the report to the QA. Finally, QA has to review those results and final approval is of the QA. So QA is responsible for any product that is going out of the factory. Even after, it is not only that the job is over here, even after the product goes out of the organization, there may be some complaints. Sometimes it happens, you receive any complaints. So the job of QA is again to reply to those complaints. So it doesn't end when the product goes outside, the job doesn't end over there. It is throughout the life cycle of the product. If there is any query regarding the product, it comes to the QA department. So they have to have thorough, so they have to have literally save each and every report. So reports is also very important. They have to handle the reports very carefully. Generally, reports are stored for a period of 1 year more than the life cycle of the product. Suppose the expiry date of the product is 3 years, so the reports are stored for 4 years. So until that time, the QA is responsible for that particular batch, that particular product.
Correct. So, given this scenario where QA is such an important function and all the nitty-gritty details that you explained, what are the challenges, that a QA professional faces day to day when they are working in this particular function, in this department?
Making the right decisions. Okay. And also we have to justify those decisions. Like I said, QA department has to work with all the other departments. See, making rules, setting guidelines, setting standards is my job. Okay. But I have to get the other people also follow those rules. That is the challenge, Like I said, for example, when we are buying the material, we have to be very specific from where we are buying the material. So we have to deal with the purchase department, but it may be the cost is affecting. So the purchase department may not allow, or may say, oh, we will take some other raw material which is cheaper. So here the QA has to be very strong. So these are the challenges, each and every place, there are some challenges. Now the QA has to make the right decision, because finally it is their responsibility. If anything wrong happens to the product, it is going to come on them. So they have to make the right decisions and they have to stand by their decisions. For that, they have to justify it internally within the management, within the organization, and also externally. Also, sometimes there are regulatory audits. So that time they also have to justify their decisions. If any decision is taken, sometimes deviations have to be taken. Always things don't work smoothly. Sometimes you have to deviate your own standards. So if the deviation is taken, the QA department has to file that deviation. And tomorrow during an audit, suppose the auditor he looks into that deviation, then the QA person has to justify why that deviation was taken and how the deviation is not going to affect the quality. So the QA has to have all these answers ready. So that challenges are also there. It is not a very easy job. It is a very tough job. You have to internally also, you have to manage your organization, and also externally you have, because the QA person is going to face external audits also. Then again, meeting timelines, that is also very important. When any department, like I said, export department will ask for some documents, so you have to give those documents in the stipulated time. And that time you may have to collect those documents from the other departments and give it to the export department or whichever department has asked for those documents. So meeting these timelines, so many a times audits happen, and after audits there are some points which we have to comply. So again, QA has to struggle to comply those points within that specified time. So meeting timeline is very important. Then again, as I said, getting work done. Okay, getting people abide the rules, making them abide whatever standards are set. That are the challenges. You literally have, because these QC persons, product development department, they have to be very fast in taking out the product. They have their own goals, to complete. So they have to do this following the rules. So again, quality assurance department has to have a check there. That is a challenge between that. So in most of the organizations, quality assurance and the other departments, they are not hand in hand. They always have a kind of tussle, between them. So I think these are the challenges.
Yeah, that's what I visualized, and you took me back to those days. So also I wanted to know, as a so given this entire scenario of quality assurance and the I mean, it's exciting as well as obviously there are challenges. So every function has working in every function has its own pros and cons. So what is that one advice that you will give to students?
If they're very keen in working in a quality assurance department, nothing like it. Like normally when we see quality assurance, people are like the police department, So you have a higher standard, when you say you're working. Of course, I would not say that the other departments are not as par. The quality control department is equally important part of any organization, but quality assurance has an upper hand over all these departments. But then, of course, their responsibility is also more. They have a lot of things to answer to, but of course, they are having always an upper hand. It is good to work in a quality assurance department.
Right. I also wanted to ask you, one more thing. There is always this, how does one enter this quality assurance? If you can touch upon that as well, because most of these students are from pharmacy background, so they would like to know how to enter this quality assurance function.
Basically, you need to have some knowledge about quality assurance. You can always read, you can always go through. There are many pharmacopoeias and US FDA guidelines. Nowadays, they are available, ICH guidelines. They give you a very good knowledge about the quality assurance, the responsibilities, what is expected from a quality assurance person. So go prepared for that. Whenever there are opportunities coming ahead, you can always apply for those opportunities in the QA department. But saying this, if there is an opportunity in the QC department, you can also enter through this. Suppose you're getting an opportunity to work, you can start from there and always shift to QA department. You can do some additional courses. Nowadays, there are a lot of courses available. You can even do that after your completion of B Pharm or M Pharm. That would be additional help,
Okay.
So I just have a question, Sabina ma'am.
Yeah.
When we are talking about entering into the QA, uh, are we talking about really large companies who are having structured departments of quality assurance and quality control separately? How does it vary between small companies, medium-sized companies, and large companies?
Yeah, now see, nowadays smaller companies generally don't have that demarcation. There is generally only one department which takes part of, looks after the quality. And internally, then they decide that this set of people will look after the quality assurance and this set will look after quality control. There is no such demarcation of the departments. That time, it may be that you are appointed as a quality assurance person, but you may have to do some quality control things also. They are interrelated, so this shift is, but in some companies nowadays it is more organized, because nowadays all the companies, they want to have this accreditations, they have to have approvals. State approval is of course necessary to start any industry, but also they want to go for this global approvals, US of FDA. So that time this structure is very important. So most of the companies nowadays have a dedicated quality assurance department and a dedicated quality control department. Quality control is more into testing. So if any person is more interested in testing, doing the lab work, the actual shop floor work, handling instruments, so they can always work in the quality control department. Quality assurance, they are also reporting to the quality assurance. So while working in the quality control also, they get exposed to what functions are done by the quality assurance people, because they will always interact with these people. Okay, there are many functions which are closely related. So that time they can come to know what is happening in the QA. Like suppose they are filling a format. Who has prepared the format? The QA has prepared the format. So that time they are exposed to these QA activities. So it's not necessary that you have to always learn something and come. While you're working also, you get to interact, and that time you can learn. And then of course, this is the exposure that you get. So I would feel if you're entering into a company where there is no great demarcation, it is good for you to learn.
Absolutely.
Okay, because big companies, as we see, there are dedicated departments, so you may not get to know what is happening in the other department. Okay, you may be working with a team of 6 to 7 quality control people. You are only restricted to the quality control lab. You don't know what is happening outside. Okay, your whatever function has been given to you, you just do that much. That's all. That is the end of your day. But if it is a smaller company, you get exposed to see what is happening around. So that is a benefit for a fresher person. And then once you get to know what is happening around, what are the other functions, you start developing your own interest, and then you can always switch over. Maybe the next job that you want to get into, you get a more focused idea. Okay, I have already worked in the QC, now I would like to go in the QA, or I would like to go into the regulatory. And one more thing I would like to say here, whenever a person wants to work in a QA department, like I said, you have to set guidelines, you have to set rules, okay, you have to make others follow. So for that, it is necessary that you basically have to know yourself what to do. So your working in quality control department helps a lot. Okay, because
Yes.
you know what you have to do, how much time it takes. Okay, how much time it takes for a experiment to do, what goes into writing the records, filling the records. So once you know how to do it, then you are in a better position to check whether it is done or not. So directly, if you go and work in a QA department, you will get to learn from your seniors. Okay, but when you actually work down the line and you reach to a position, you're in a better position to judge others, to correct others. I hope I have answered your question, Geeta.
Yes. I think that was very, very important, because most of the students who are here, they are, in the B Farm course. And I think when they make this decision, whether to go, which kind of company to go, I think your answer was like really, I think it would be helpful. One other question related to this I had was, Sabina, was generally in manufacturing as well as in QC, we say that, you need a certification as a qualified chemist or something, qualified production chemist, qualified QC chemist. You get a certification. Does a QA person also get some certification like this?
It may not be prior. You can do some certificate courses.
No. I mean, after working, you get approved chemist.
No. In QA, there is no such thing.
There is no approved.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But
Yes.
once you can attend some seminars, or you can do some courses where you get, whether means there are many ISO related standards, so there are organizations who conduct such courses, and then you get a certificate like GLP. Okay, once you have gone through that 2-day, 3-day course, then you get a certificate that you are GMP compliant. Similarly, for good manufacturing practices, if you're working, your organization may also represent you for such courses. So these are additional courses, but there is no as such certification.
Yeah. Got it. Thank you, Sabina.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much. This has been really insightful. I think we will ask the audience for questions.
Any questions from
Any
the
questions? Yeah.
You can paste the questions, type it in the chat box, and we will take one by one. I think we've got the first question, Sabina. Is master's mandatory to become a QA professional?
No, it is not mandatory. If you get an opportunity even after your bachelor's, it is very good. Opportunities are always there, but nothing is mandatory. Okay.
And the next question we have is it possible for someone to transition from the QC to the QA? I think you did answer this question.
Yes, it is possible. It is very possible.
Yeah. As a fresher in pharmacy, can one enter or start working in the QA department?
Yes, there are always openings. And see, generally what happens is, though when we receive candidates, they come from all sorts. They are like postgraduates in chemistry also who apply. Okay, and I would say B Farm would have an additional advantage because they have much more knowledge about the pharmaceutical product. Okay, so they have an added advantage, and yes, they can always wherever there are job, but many organizations they take freshers for QA department.
Okay. Yeah. Anyone else? Any other question that are there? What are the job opportunities for QA abroad?
See, directly after your master's or bachelor's, you may not get a job opportunity abroad. For that, if you have some experience, okay, if you are working in a US FDA approved organization, you know what things are happening. So after that, you may, apply for this, or you may send your candidature for that. But initially, you will have to have some experience.
Right. And also the global quality systems, like you said, US FDA. So if you are working in that kind of a company, then it is recognized in the US.
Only having a knowledge is different and implementing that is different. So whenever you go for a job abroad, they will expect that you know how to implement it. Okay. Theoretical knowledge and practical knowledge, this is a difference. So you have a better position when you have some practical knowledge. So I would advise that you have gain some experience, 2 to 3 years minimum experience. You can do additional courses that are available. Okay, there are QA expert courses are available, so you can do those courses, but that is all theoretical knowledge unless and until you have some practical experience. Okay, and how actually the department functions. When you have a practical experience, that is more beneficial, I suppose.
I think we have one more question. How do we prepare ourselves for interviews for the QA and QC department?
So if you're going as a fresher, mostly you have to know your syllabus. Whatever you have learned in your pharmacy course, that is something which you have to know. There are people who who are not able to express that properly. So whatever you have, because as a fresher, we don't expect that people know what is happening in the industry. What have you learned? Plus, do you know at least the basic requirement, or what is the function of a QA or QC department? QA is more about the documentation part. So are you well versed with the standards? What is required nowadays? are you familiar with the terms like GMP, GLP, pharmacopoeias? This is what is expected for a person who is applying for QA. Whereas in a QC, more of a practical knowledge. Are you aware of the instruments, the testing part? Okay, there are the basic chemistry. Are you aware of that? Do you remember your basic chemistry that you have learned during your college days? Then you should have certain knowledge about the instrumentation. If you're going for quality control, the basic instruments, because nowadays more and more sophisticated instruments are coming. So knowledge is expected, because you are for QC, you're going to compete with a person who has done analytical chemistry. Okay, so you are not exactly, but at least you have to have some knowledge at par with those people. Get some knowledge about the instrumentation part, the theory part. You can always be frank saying, I don't know how to use the instrument, but I know the principle behind the instrument. The basic instrument nowadays which are very common: spectrophotometers, chromatography, gas chromatography, HPLC. There are some laboratories who are conducting courses, training programs, for handling instruments. So that will be your additional advantage. After your pharmacy, if you do these training courses, you get hands-on practice on the instrument. You know how to use the instrument. You get a basic knowledge of instrument, and you have got a better stand for the interview for a quality control person.
Yeah, I think one question is, I think, could you please suggest some QA related courses? I think you have answered that. Let me ask Sonali, does that answer your question, or you have any further clarification required? Because I think ma'am just answered a few questions, that question here. You can unmute yourself and say that if you have anything else.
No, ma'am. Ma'am cleared everything.
Okay.
There is one institute in Pune, IPER. They have lot of online courses, correspondence courses and online courses related to QA also. So I would recommend that. There are an IPER, one example I'm giving you, Indian Institute of Pharmaceutical Sciences. There are education. Yeah, there are many more are there. Okay, so you can do such courses. There are the basic requirement is a bachelor's degree. So you can always qualify for those courses, and you can do those courses.
Yeah, I think in today's competitive scenario, just the basic degree is not enough for most students. You have to do something which is, in addition to what you are being taught at the college or in your academics. That is what puts you apart from other students when you go for an interview. It can be anything, quality assurance or any other field. I think that's the same thing. So we do have one more question. How do drug manufacturers test their drugs for quality control in the production line, given that they cannot get a human to consume the drug for testing?
Let me get hold of the question. How
I think,
I think
see, there are laid down specifications.
Correct.
Okay.
The pharmacopoeia.
There are laid down specifications right from the raw material. Basically, first your raw material should comply those specifications. Only then the raw material is used to manufacture your finished product. Finally, the finished product is again tested to comply. Okay, there are a lot of tests that goes under testing. Identification, purity, strength. So all these tests are done. There are a number of tests. Physical parameters as well as the chemical parameters. There are rigid parameters after which a product is either approved or rejected. And it is not necessary for a human to consume, because each and every product is not possible.
Absolutely.
Each and every product.
What will they do with vaccine then?
Yeah. So it will not be possible. It is very time consuming, risk also. So there are set of specifications which will give you the assurance. Okay, this is what the quality assurance people are doing. They have already laid down. There are various methods how to test it also. Okay, so after having a set of methods, how they have come to the conclusion, they have made these specifications very rigid. Unless and until the product pass these specifications, the product is not approved. It is not going outside your factory. Okay.
Yeah. And one question which I thought probably you can enlighten the students and us also. Is there any difference between how it is done in India versus the companies overseas in the global scenario?
Earlier, I would say there was a lot of difference because we were not doing all those norms. We were not considering all those norms. But now we are at par. Okay, now basically these many big companies, they have already got their approvals. So they are at par with the companies abroad. Of course, sophistication and the machinery that is doing manufacturing process and all that, that may be different.
Yes.
But standard wise, now we are also following WHO guidelines. So the standards are the same. So in India also, okay, we are not now talking about very local, manufacturers. They may not follow all these norms, but then they don't have that stand in the market. What if we are talking about competitive pharma companies like big names? Of course, they are also following the same standards that are used in the other countries.
Yeah. Yeah. And generally, what is the kind of career trajectory that one can expect if one enters the QA department?
If you start from the fresher, you are becoming a QA analyst. From that, you can start. There are now here I would like to tell the students, like, you don't expect this transition very fast. It is a very slow process. Initial 2 to 3 years, you are just learning. Okay, so keep your eyes and ears open, see what is happening around. So it may take some time. It won't like how in IT companies people move very fast. So this is not the trend here in pharma companies, be it QC, be it QA. Okay, it is a very slow progression. So 2 3 years you are working as a quality assurance analyst or a quality control analyst. Then you can become the supervisor grade, the managerial grade. It will take a course of time, but of course the avenues are very bright over here nowadays in quality control. And from quality control, there are even other functions you can move on to. They are regulatory, clinical trials, okay, clinical research. So you can always shift on that. If you feel ki it is becoming monotonous for you, working in a quality control department is going to be monotonous. So after 5 years, you can always have a switch, unless and but only thing, you should be exposed to what is happening in the other departments and you can have a switch. So you can go on from quality assurance. If you're having a very good interest in that, you can even go up to the stage of becoming an auditor, because auditors is a very influencing job. Okay, and also very well paid. You can become an auditor, national level auditor also, then you can become a US level auditor also, and then there are no boundaries for that. So it all starts from quality assurance.
Yeah, I think that is an extremely important insight you gave, because most people would be thinking it is restricted to the lab or the product or the factory or whatever. But your insight of getting into regulatory, clinical, as well as getting into the global level as an auditor is something that students should look at.
Yeah, because now more and more companies want to comply all these guidelines. Even they are looking for quality assurance consultants. They will hire you to set up their factory. They will ask you to please set up our quality assurance department. As a consultant also, you can start working. So there are a lot of opportunities now. But only thing is that you should have that interest, and the determination. It will not happen suddenly. So you should sustain those initial years. Initial years, you may feel, ye main kya kar raha hu? No, I'm only making formats. I'm only preparing documents. So no, okay, it will take time.
That happens in any field. Correct. As a fresher, you have to climb up the ladder. You have to take those steps.
Yeah.
You can't straight, go to the first floor and the second floor next. You have to take the steps to go to the first floor. Anyway, thank you, Sabina, for answering my questions. Yeah.
The more one student handles operation execution part is where they learn more about the ground level and then grow. So thank you for all the insights. I'm sure students had some perceptions about QC, but not a great clarity about quality assurance and the difference between them. So I think this session was really insightful, clarifying that, and also, that it is a core function and related with other departments, and how one can, in their career path, can also move from, one function to the other, understanding this process. So thank you very much on behalf of platform. Thanks so much for giving us time, weekend evening. Let
It
me
was
put
my
it again.
pleasure. It was really my pleasure.
Yeah.
Kunal, may I ask you to give vote of thanks, please?
Yeah, ma'am. I would, on behalf of platform, like to express our sincere thanks to Sabina ma'am for taking the time to address us and give us understanding on the important vertical in the industry. I would also like to express my thanks to all the participants in this forum. It's my request if the participant can now turn on their video to capture a picture of the session. Can everyone please just turn on your cameras?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Kunal. Yeah. Continue.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. So if you have any further queries, please do write us at connect@platform.in. Please follow us on our social media pages for further updates, news, and posts. Until next time we meet again, please take care, stay safe, and healthy. Thanks again. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Kunal.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
Geeta.
all
Thank you, Lakshmi.
participants and Sabina ma'am for, such a great, insightful session on a Saturday evening. Thank you so much. And thank you, Kunal, for hosting this. And thank you, Lakshmi, as well.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.